You are listening to SFL Radio.
You're listening to the Owner's Box podcast on SFL Radio. Now here's the host of the SOB and my bongo playing compadre, Stephen Mullinax. All right.
Welcome to the SFL Owner's Box. The SOB is a weekly 30-minute podcast that covers all the headline-worthy topics from this week in the Simulation Football League, aka the SFL. For the uninitiated, the SFL is the ultimate sim football experience that features real-life users as players, coaches, and owners. Other features include a live commentated SFL Red Zone, where you can watch 5 games at once with in-depth pre-game and post-game shows live on YouTube. There's also a Game of the Week shown in its entirety with a live 2-man commentary crew, full stat tracking provided by DAC Stats, fantasy football, and much, much more. Find out how you can get involved at simulationfl.com. That's simulationfl.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the SOB podcast with the SFL's first Game of the Week, a matchup between the Sioux Falls Sparrows and the Carolina Skyhawks happening later today. I thought I'd share with you a very enlightening interview I had with Sparrows owner Jason McGee. We talked about Sioux Falls' new team build that has the league abuzz, and we get his view of the upcoming matchup with Carolina. All that and much, much more. Enjoy. Well, Jason, I want to thank you for being here on the podcast. You know nothing but success during your time in the SFL as the owner of the Sioux Falls Sparrows, finishing 9-3 last year and 8-4 the season before. What do you attribute most as the reason for that early success?
Experience, really. I've competed within 2K football at the highest level since it came out in 1999, and that'll be like 18 years this fall. Some of these kids that these teams have drafted this offseason or are on some of these team staffs, they weren't even born yet. So while I was doing this, but even I learned new things each season. So it's really been about like just passion, drive, and dedication for so long, and the experience that comes with that.
Yeah, I mean, just talking about, I think me and you both have probably played each and every 2K offering. I know for me, basketball and football both. And I'm amazed at the gifts this game still keeps giving us. I still keep seeing things and hearing commentary I've never heard before. Although I've been playing this game for so long, and coming up on 10 years, it's just amazing to think that I still consider it superior to Madden.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's amazing.
So thinking back to last season, Jason, what did you like the most about your Sparrows team, and what did you dislike the most?
I liked our physical play and just our playmaking ability on both sides of the ball. We have playmakers everywhere, and that they can just turn an entire game over on its end. And our defense was top 5 in the run and the pass for a huge chunk of last season, but they never really got the respect they deserved because of how well Julian Tyree and Jordan Jennings were last season. But as for dislikes and stuff, what I would dislike about it is losing. but thankfully I only had 3 dislikes during the regular season, but we got to work on having none during this season, especially in the postseason.
Now, here's the $25,000 question here that everybody wants to know and wants to hear from you. This season, you decided to go with a non-starred running back. What was the thought process behind that?
Oh, it's the same thought process as any other season, just to win. Season 6, we wanted Tyree to win with Ashley Anderson at running back. Season 7, we wanted him to win with Jordan Jennings at wide receiver. And season 8, we're going to try and win with basically this entire football team, just kind of trying to come together and make something special. But all these things that people have been saying. And Beasley was not our bread and butter. He wasn't our number one weapon. He wasn't even our number two weapon. We're not revamped. We only had 4 players on offense last season, so and we still had the best passing offense in the league. So as crazy as the build seems, this idea that we're suddenly not going to be able to compete because Carolina was kind of unbalanced and they couldn't compete. Well, all the respect in the world to Carolina, but that's not me. Okay, like I mentioned earlier about how long I've been doing this. I think their offensive coordinator was 4 years old when I started doing this. That's just they're gonna come out and they're gonna give us a fight like anyone else, but we're still gonna do what we have to do each week and find a way to get the job done.
All right, so probably Sioux Falls here in the last couple of seasons, their backup running backs are kind of names. We know Freddie Fox and Beasley, as non-stars, did really well in relief. I mean, I specifically remember their names, and really not any other team's backup running backs. Was the seed of that team build decision this year? Was it planted during some of those games, or is this something that you've been thinking about a while?
Maybe a little bit, but I always just try and experiment with different builds, even if I have some downtime, which doesn't happen a lot. But if I do, I'll try and test different builds and things. And I was even looking at bronze quarterback and things like that, but I didn't have as much time as I wanted to invest into experimenting with this other build on top of the builds that I was already working on, so that one can just be something to maybe tinker with later. But yeah, it was a little bit of both, just seeing what they could do during past seasons and seeing what I wanted to do to move forward.
So we know that because of our playbook, and I'm still sticking with this topic because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are just, it was really the talk of the off season when it came to team builds. But did you, 25% of our playbook, as we know as coaches, is going to be devoted to running plays. And so do you really think that you can have a, decent running game with a non-star back there?
Depends on how you define it. I mean, yeah. Are we going to be up there in the top of the league leaders in the running offense? Probably not. I mean, we might be last again. That's just how it's going to go with star players. But I think for me, it's not necessarily about yards. It's about efficiency. And as long as we can be efficient with the runs that we do have, and I think we'll be okay.
So you're going to have 9 stars on defense. Obviously, that's a high investment on that side of the ball. Why such a heavy commitment defensively this season?
Well, we've had success offensively since I came in. So, and this is an offensive league, so I just felt right. I mean, even 11 defensive players won't shut down everyone, but sometimes you want to be off balance to force everyone else off balance. And at the end of the season, if we end up with 90% of the success that our offense had last season, who's going to say that wasn't the right call? But AJ was actually doing quite a bit of defense, a bit of help on the defensive side last season, but I kept my own tidbits on defense as well. But starting out this season, he's going into this matchup against Carolina with the plays he wants, and I know he's up to the task of doing that. And offensively, Julian Tyree is up to the task of helping us maintain an elite offense in the league, and he was Offensive Player of the Year for season 7. And if he plays that well this season with just 2 other stars around him, that will pretty much cement him as the best in my book. But Jordan Jennings has to ball out. Jalen Miller has to prove that he can be a top wide receiver, a top 4 wide receiver like Caesar Cannon was last season. But everyone here knows what their job is, and they know what's expected of them. So they know it needs to be done, and the only thing left to do is to go out there and do it.
You've been touted as one of the most dedicated coaches in the SFL. And when I say dedicated, I just mean dedicated to your craft, to your playbooks, to the stuff that's off the field. can you tell us a little bit about your process for preparing for a game?
Practice. By the time we're done practicing, there's like no grass left beneath our feet. That's for sure. I have something I call the 100 test, where I'll run a play through just a barrage of different looks and challenges, and when we're done, if we weren't successful with those plays 90 to 95% of the time, then they probably won't make it to even a scrimmage, let alone an actual game day. But just besides scouting, I hear scrimmages and stuff and scouting all the teams, but besides scouting opposing teams and offenses and defenses, even more than that, you have to really look at your own team. You have to have a full understanding of what your own team is bringing to the table each week. I was never afraid of a 3rd and 15 last season, because I knew exactly what plays we would run in that situation, and more times than not, we still found a way to annoy defensive coordinators and convert it anyway. But I could pull my exact playbook up from our first 2 losses against the Maulers in season 6, and our next 2 victories against them in season 7, and I can tell you which plays that I didn't like that week that got put on the hot seat for next week, and sometimes those hot seat plays get tossed out of the playbook, and sometimes they stay because they're high risk, high reward type things, and sometimes the changing of our build in the off season will change how high of a risk that play is now. But I know there's just like a million different levels to the whole process of preparing for these games, but it's always been about finding the right balance. And I think priority 1 should always be learning from your own team's success and failures each week, and then kind of moving out from there.
Yeah, I have a similar philosophy. Being who you are and discovering who you are as a team and what works best for you is almost more important than studying for the team that you're going to be playing. Sometimes you're your own worst enemy. On a normal week, obviously this isn't normal because we're going into week 1 blind, not really knowing all these new team builds, even new teams, and haven't had a chance to see what they're going to do. During a normal week for you, how many hours do you say you spend simming, watching past games, that kind of thing, in an average week?
Wow. I don't even know. It feels like a nonstop process, because right after a game I want to watch it again, especially if we didn't come out on the winning side. I might watch it 2 or 3 times, and also have my playbook open and be pinpointing all these plays, and just no, I don't even know. I should probably better manage how many hours there are, because eventually I'm gonna start driving the family crazy here. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Again, balance, right? Even
yeah.
No, I only bring it up because I just what I've heard through the grapevine, and of course what we heard on Inside the SFL a little bit last season. They were just singing your praises as far as how much you simmed and how many hours, and I just wanted to give our audience an idea of just how much time and effort and dedication you put into it. Trust me, guys, it's a lot. From just the cursory knowledge of it, it seems to me that you probably prepare more than anybody else, and the results obviously shine through. So, speaking of, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it never stops really. Even when I physically have to stop, I'll have something going on so that when I'm conscious again, I can check the results.
Yeah, I fell asleep myself many a sim. Your first contest of the season, we talked about you reviewing the games right after a loss. Well, your first game of the season is going to be against the Skyhawks, which you did suffer a loss from last season. You guys are going to be in the game of the week. So can you tell me a little bit about your previous matchup with the Skyhawks and what you kind of expect to see from them now that they've got a new, more balanced team build?
Sure. Well, I want to thank Cam for putting us in that spotlight game for week 1. But last season, we made some crucial mistakes where our D-line was stunting where we normally wouldn't have them go, and added a few wrinkles where our DBs weren't necessarily following as deep as we would have wanted them to, and English broke away with a 63-yard touchdown. Monroe had a couple of easy deep passes, and then combine that with Maurice Spurgeon taking over the game on special teams that night, and they were able to hold on long enough to win. That was a tough one, but I was still proud of how we were fighting back, even though it was kind of a bad setup to be in. I think they're going to grind away this season, and for week 1, they're going to grind away with English on the ground as always. I'd be surprised if they didn't, because he's been a feature back in this league. And but they're also going to take way more shots with Zeli deep, and I'm sure Maurice Spurgeon will find a way to make some big plays for them again as well. But we just need to focus and start off on the right foot and make some plays of our own, and not start out so slowly. And there are a lot of really good plays that I didn't quite put in for week 1, just because even if there's a good play, sometimes putting it in there kind of takes, I don't know, sometimes it'll even mess with your team's tendencies and make things worse. So I'm waiting to put some more stuff in for later in the season, but I think we're still ready to put up points and deal with that offense.
Jason, you're a very confident guy. You exude that. I'm sure that's part of the military that shines through there. You're going to be going into the season with 3 offensive stars, and I think that means that you're going to be relying on non-stars more than probably any other team on the offensive side of the ball, at least. And you seem very confident in that fact. Is there no, hesitation at all from you that you're putting maybe some of your offensive fortunes into the hands of non-stars?
Not really. I think they played really well for us last season. Our slot wide receivers did very well. Our 3rd and 4th wide receivers actually helped us out when they came out on the field and helped spread the ball, and sometimes they were the ones making the tough catches. Of course, you're going to have some drops here and there, maybe even a fumble or something, especially with the running back non-star getting more touches like that. But I think they really played solid for us last season. So I think if we put them in a spot where they're not getting blindsided every time they make an attempt to catch a football or run with the football, I think they'll do their job well enough.
Well, you haven't heard it yet because it hadn't been released yet, but in my latest podcast, Sioux Falls Sparrows were my number 1 most intriguing team. Your team build is just it's just so interesting and must-watch TV, and I'm so happy that it's going to be the game of the week. So we get a chance to watch the entire game with the 2-man commentary team. Finally, outside of the Carolina game, which is this Monday, is there any particular matchup you are looking forward to this season?
Well, from a philosophy standpoint, it's always going to be the next one, but which would be Baltimore in Baltimore's house. I think that's the way it has to be in order for us to truly say that we're focused. But I'm definitely ready for Game 6, if you will, against T-Pat. He may be in Tallahassee, but I definitely plan to break even with him again this season. And I'm ready for sure. Excited for that another great clash with your Dallas Roughnecks, and that offense looks insane. And I'm definitely ready to break this pattern. I don't know how many people have picked up on it, but this pattern of the Sioux Falls Sparrows sweeping a team that then becomes the champions. So and then we sweep them in the regular season. They beat us in the postseason and then win the championship. So looking at my schedule, I'm going to apologize to Queen City and St. Louis in advance, because that's not happening this season. We came into the league fighting, and we'll be ready to finish the fight for once this time around in the postseason.
Well, Jason, I want to thank you for taking the time and to come on the podcast. You are a gentleman and a scholar, sir. Thank you so much, and I want to wish you the best of luck in the season.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you, buddy. I'd like to thank Mr. Jason McGee, and I wish his Sioux Falls Sparrows the very best of luck this season. And I'd like to thank you for listening. We'll see you next time on the SOB Podcast.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.